Hi, this is Andrew Schoenberg for KSQD. In early March, I interviewed Justin Loza, president of Veterans for Peace of Monterey County. It's one local chapter in an international organization, Veterans for Peace. They have a commitment to build a culture of peace, expose the true costs of war, and heal its wounds. Here's our interview. What is the mission of Veterans for Peace of Monterey County?
There's the Veterans for Peace National, which are simply stated is to expose the true cost of war. And there's a few other little prongs that go with that. But here locally, this year, we're really focused on enhancing immigrant security and safety. We're really focused on being part of demilitarizing what's happening here locally or what might happen here locally.
And how are you doing that?
Well, we're planning right now with our partners, coalition partners, local activists and leaders of Indivisible and Unite Monterey County and a couple other groups. We're trying to meet with them and see how we can help.
You're in the preparation stage?
Yes.
Okay.
In conception stage.
Okay. And
for this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about in general or last year or the year after this?
Generally, we are activists and we raise awareness around really important issues around peace and war, I would say. We're anti-war activists, and we try to do quick reaction responses during situations like the Venezuela situation. We supported an idea to just show up at Window on the Bay and speak out loudly and protest out there. Things like that.
Are you doing other things as well?
We have an initiative that we're working with VSP National on called the Occupation Response Webinar. And that is us. Our idea is that veterans that are in hot spots in the United States where ICE is getting pretty serious, like up in Minneapolis. There's Veterans for Peace up there. There's other veteran groups, and they're helping the community, and they're learning a lot. And so we're preparing for what might come here locally in this region. And so we're trying to host webinars to bring some ideas for other veterans to support and bring their skills and ideas for the community to hear about how we can help as well.
So say ICE comes to this area in significant numbers. What might you guys and other allied groups do?
There's been some local initiatives about teaching community members their rights and being part of that. And also the Whistlemania exercises that have been happening. We've been showing up there. And
what is that?
Supporting that. That's where the community is getting together, building whistle kits for neighbors and for community members if they see ICE to use the whistle to warn people.
So a whistle kit would, besides a whistle, is there something else?
There's some little as well in Spanish
and
English.
How to blow the whistle.
Yeah, the number of whistles.
I see.
To signify certain things and stuff like that.
Okay. That's interesting.
As veterans, I want to just show up and show the community that we're there. And I think veterans are a force multiplier in movements, and they help bring up the courage level of people. When people know that there's veterans around and supporting, it's just something about it. People appreciate it. I've noticed.
Yeah, I think also in this area, perhaps because there's a lot of military and there's a lot of retired military around this area, it might add some extra respect.
Yes, definitely. We do have active duty members, not in our chapter, but in Veterans for Peace as a whole. There's like over 300 now, active duty members, yep. And I'm trying to recruit local active duty members as well. One way we're doing something called Operation North Star, I called it, where we're trying to guide local officers at the Naval Postgraduate School to follow their conscience and being out there and supporting them, not berating them or harassing them in any way, and trying to give them encouragement, because we've heard from people on base. There's service members that are wondering what they can do, and because it's going against what they believe. And so they see us out there, and we've heard it's actually really appreciating it, which is really. And
they see you out there. I think you're doing some demonstrations at the gate of the Naval Postgraduate School. Yeah.
After like the last one that we did, actually the first big one where we actually made the news, a service member I was in Safeway, and I was staring at the chips, and this lady walked in front of me, and she's like, "Thank you," and then I what was that? And I looked, and she had a Naval Postgraduate School on, or a sweater on.
Uh-huh.
And she just kept walking. She didn't pause to talk or anything. She just said thank you. And I thought that was amazing.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So besides preparing for ICE, even if you're not doing it right now, what else have you done, or what else would you expect to be doing?
Right now we have a campaign to prevent armored vehicles from rolling down the 4th of July parade.
Oh, I saw that on the website, yeah.
You did? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, because I looked at your website.
Thank you for looking. I appreciate that.
So is that a new thing that you're trying to prevent it for next 4th of July, or you did it last year? Or
It's a new thing. Last year we walked in the parade, and these armored trucks rolled past us. They were at the beginning, the front of the parade, so we were at the end. So when we were coming up, they were coming back around, leaving it. And they were just really loud, rolled right past you, killing machines. And it was just like a sense of dread kind of comes over you.
Yes.
And the peace community that we were with right there were just like disgusted. And I was too. And so I made it a point to say that that's one of our priorities this year, is we want to try to prevent them from doing that.
So how are you going to try to prevent it?
I'm just going to ask the council nicely to not approve their application. And I've done that a couple times already. And I'm going to talk to the Old Town Business Association and see if they will hear us and not allow them to come into the parade.
That's the business association is in charge of the parade, or? I
think so. Yeah. Old Town Business Association. History seems like it's kind of repeating itself almost here, because Phil Butler is a former POW of Vietnam. He founded our chapter in the 80s, and he had a campaign just like this, but before they had an actual tank rolling down the street. I have the article at home. I should have brought it.
That's okay.
Him and a few others, they all laid in front of it, and
oh wow! And
that was the last time that they allowed that tank in the 4th of July parade. After that, so.
But now they're allowing armored vehicle, not necessarily a tank, but armored vehicle. Yeah. Yeah. So
they're old vintage ones, but they have tracks, and you can see the turret on top, and and there is a medic van, and there's an amphibian assault vehicle that was rolling down there too, and they're clearly like machines of war. Yeah. And we're glorifying war when we do that, and all the kids are getting socialized to that idea, and we're perpetuating that culture of militarism when we do that. And it's not. I don't think you're not being patriotic by saying we don't want weapons of war in parades. I think you're being very patriotic by supporting the men and women who are very brave and who actually are using those weapons when they have to, and supporting them and their patriotism, in my opinion. So I hope that they'll listen.
Well, I hope. So is there like a meeting or something that are having to discuss it?
I brought it up in the last couple council meetings, and they haven't reached out to acknowledge it or tell me if they are going to do it or not. I just gave them public consideration. So I'm going to continue going down to the council meetings and advocating. I'm going to get my chapter to come with me and see if I can get others as well.
A good idea.
Yeah.
In case you've just tuned in, you're listening to KSQD. Community radio for all of the Monterey Bay on 90.7, 89.7, and 89.5 FM, and streaming at ksqd.org. I'm Andrew Schoenberg, and we're listening to an interview I did in early March with Justin Loza, president of Veterans for Peace of Monterey County. Are there any notable successes that you can share with the audience? Something that you feel like you've accomplished? Now, how long have you been with the organization or in charge of the organization? You're the president, right? So
my second time being president is going into my second year of my second time. And the first time was like right before COVID. I joined VFP in 2016. And I became the president and then stepped back because my business was doing really good, and I lost all my capacity. So then had to take a step back, and then came back into it a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that
accomplishments
that you're proud of?
We had a excellent. We hosted the No Mas tour here. I'm pretty proud of that because we went to the Salinas Air Show to try to educate people at the about the military weapons that are used in, the aircraft that are there, and try to argue that we don't actually have to have that there to have a good air show. We can have other aircraft there that are not the Blue Angels, and and try to also help link climate issues to our militarism, because we are the biggest polluter on Earth as well. And so that campaign, I think we educated a lot of people. I was pretty happy about that. What else? What other major?
Just to clarify, when you say we're the biggest polluter, you mean the United States, or do you mean the
military.
The U.S. military?
U.S. military.
Wow. Yeah.
We film screened Earth's Greatest Enemy. It's coming back again on Earth Day. I think we're helping to co-sponsor a screening at the Peace and Justice Center. But that one makes a very clear link to the military pollution and how much we're destroying our planet. Yeah.
You could. I'm sure you could get like public service announcements on the radio station on K-Squid for that. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sure. K-Squid is a very progressive, left-leaning organization. Contact K-Squid and we'll do a PSA for you. So are you doing anything or thinking about anything that you might do related to the new war on Iran?
Well, just the other day on the 28th, February, there was a March for Democracy, and that was the day that the situation in Iran was happening. So we used that. I used to reach out to my chapter to be out there and voicing our opinion with everybody, because there was a big protest already planned, actually. Unfortunately, we're getting good at predicting that.
The March on Democracy, that was a local protest?
Yeah, March for Democracy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was actually coordinated with Indivisible across the country as well on that day. So it was just one of the local versions of it.
I see. And that's exactly why Trump decided to, no, I don't think so. I think he's very clued into what's happening here in Monterey. But
yes.
He's such an aware person.
Yeah, it really worries me about the Iran situation. I was at Al Dhafra Air Base in 2008, and
where's that?
In UAE, and they got bombed in one of the attacks that they got. And I remember being there and thinking, because there was these little bunkers that they put around these really light, shallow buildings that we sleep in and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna, that's gonna protect us if something happens. And I remember my uncle telling me, like, hey, when you go over there, be careful. Stuff's popping off with Iran. And that was back in 2008 when he was warning me, right? Yeah. And so I can't imagine, like, all those airmen and service members in that base, and Al Udeid and Kuwait, I believe, they knew that the potential was there, and they're having to now live under that threat. And that's what they're there for. They knew that it might happen. So I can imagine how that might feel for them right now, which might be kind of crazy.
Well, hopefully it won't go on for too long, but that's the people who are knowledgeable say that's probably not so.
If Congress could, I don't think.
Well, they just dropped the ball on that, like voting for a War Powers Act resolution or however you say it. Not that I assume they can do it in the future. I think this is just my opinion, because there's so much economic disruption, and because oil prices are going up so much, which affects prices on lots of other stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure to end this quickly, or more quickly than the Trumpites might like to, if there wasn't such a cost, economic cost or whatever. Because I don't think they give about all the innocent civilians that they're killing and maiming and everything. I think, what they care about, and they don't care about how much money they're spending on this. If it affects, like the economy and Trump's chances of having like a continued Republican Congress and so on and so forth, that probably will have an effect. That's just my opinion.
I think you're right. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
His really weak, fragile ego, and when he gets embarrassed, I think that's what we have going for us. Actually,
yes, that's one of the things. Yes. How are you connected to the
the parent organization, Veterans for Peace, and maybe other chapters that are in the greater area, like the Santa Cruz. I'm sure there's a Santa Cruz Bay Area or whatever.
So there's chapters in nearly every state currently. There's 3,500 members nationally, and I'm the president of our local chapter, and we have about 45 members, active members in our chapter, and we work with the San Francisco chapter. We have recently worked with them on an event celebrating or memorializing Aaron Bushnell, who self-immolated in front of the Israeli consulate 2 years ago. And on February 25th, 2 years ago, 2024. And we memorialized them. We did that in front of the Israeli consulate with the VFP chapter up there in Code Pink and NAG, they called it, Noisemakers Against Genocide.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And when you say memorialize, you had a demonstration?
We had a demonstration right in front of the consulate, and but we memorialized Aaron. I read his final words that he said, and we just honored him for what he did, his sacrifice, to raise awareness of what was happening in Palestine.
In case you've just tuned in, you're listening to KSQD, Community Radio for all of the Monterey Bay, on 90.7, 89.7, and 89.5 FM, and streaming at ksqd.org. I'm Andrew Schoenberg, and we're listening to an interview I did in early March with Justin Loza, president of Veterans for Peace of Monterey County.
And in terms of Santa Cruz chapter,
Santa Cruz,
there is no chapter. They
really?
Yeah, they fell apart.
Get it together, guys.
I know we need to. I really want to help start one there and in Salinas. There are, I heard 15 to 20,000 veterans in the Tri-County area here. So, I mean, we should have Veterans for Peace around here.
Well, it surprises me that there isn't one in Santa Cruz.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a person there that comes to our chapter.
Okay.
We can start one there. It's just we gotta, someone just needs to take the lead.
Well, somebody from Santa Cruz area should take the lead. I mean, there's so many progressive people up there, including people on the radio station and who are guests on the radio station. So there ought to be somebody.
Well, if one of your listeners hears it and they're inspired, I would love to talk to them and help them start a chapter out there. All they need is 10 people to actually charter a chapter. Veterans. I was born and raised in Santa Cruz. I went to Dominican and born there. I lived in Santa Cruz for a while and then out in Watsonville area.
Do you get any help or aid from the national organization, or you're just independent? I mean, what kind of aid do they? What help do they provide?
All chapters are pretty semi-autonomous, but they provide narratives. They provide
when you say narratives, what do you mean?
They work on helping come up with messaging that we can use down here in other chapters as well, making the connection, just helping with like the messaging, because that takes a lot of thought and manpower and people power, excuse me.
If people want to get involved or just find out more about what you're doing and what events are coming up, how do they do that?
I've been keeping our website up to date, so that's a good spot. VFP46.org and
VFP46.org.
Correct.
Got to say it at least twice for the radio. So that's the best way, the website. Yeah,
that's the best spot. Yeah, and I also send out regular communications if you sign up. So if you go to the website and sign up, I keep everybody up to date of upcoming actions and things that we're planning to support the community with, or actions I'm asking for people to do to go give public comment, things like that.
Okay. Are there other people that are helping you? I mean, really active, or pretty much it's you?
No, yeah, we have other people. I would say about 10, 12 of us. Very active that I get support from and are helping me get our actions together, which is amazing.
Get our action together, not get our act together, but get our action together.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And we also have associates. It's not just a veterans-only organization. It's not a veterans-only organization. We have allies and associates, and they're really important in our organization. And we support, and we really appreciate their help and support.
So what is an associate?
It's just a member that isn't a veteran, essentially. But they're looked at as normal members and just as influential as anybody else in the chapter. And we work with the Peace Coalition of Monterey County, Monterey Peace and Justice Center. That's where our base is, our headquarters, essentially.
Well, while we were off mic, You were saying something about Veterans Day versus Armistice Day. And why don't you talk about the history, a little bit of that, and what your organization or the parent organization is trying to do with Armistice Day?
Absolutely. In 1918, Congress established Armistice Day at the end of World War I. And it was a day to celebrate the end of all wars and to celebrate the lasting peace that our brave men and women helped create. But it was a celebration day. They used to celebrate it. They used to go out and have parades and things like that. At some point, I can't remember the time period, they renamed it Veterans Day. And the intent was to celebrate the men and women and rather than focus on peace. And so in doing so, they really are perpetuating like a militarism in our society by doing that. We should support the people who are willing to give up their lives and volunteer for their country, like when they really need it to defend our country if we need to. But we use it as a way to perpetuate our foreign policy, intervening in all of other countries and perpetuating our war culture.
So the idea is to go back to calling it Armistice Day again?
Exactly. And, Trump last year, or was it this year? Yeah, last year, he tried to say that he was going to change the name. And actually, I think he under the radar did change the name from, I need to verify this, but from Veterans Day to Victory Day. I need to double check.
That sounds like Trump would do that, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Victory, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like renaming the Department of Defense the Department of War. And so.
Yeah, we want to reclaim Armistice Day and start focusing on the day that it was the original intent of that day. And in Veterans for Peace across the country, we celebrate Armistice Day. We have vigils and we have events here locally. For the past 4 years straight, we've had Drop the Mic. Armistice Day Drop the Mic, which is Drop the Military Industrial Complex. And it's an open mic where people can come and say poetry and sing music, and we have food, and I try to make it an uplifting thing, but usually there's some pretty heavy words that people talk about there. But I'm trying to make it a celebration.
And when is this? When does it happen?
November 11th.
November 11th. Okay, well that's a ways away, but
yes, it is.
Hopefully we remember it. But again, you could get PSAs on K-Squid to publicize it.
Okay.
And I think people would like to hear about that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't cover?
Veterans are normal people, just like everybody else. We have a certain set of skills and motivations, so it's not all about veterans at all. Even though our society kind of puts us on a pedestal, in our culture, like we have to support veterans, and they use that to justify wars.
That is true, isn't it? Yeah.
I just want to say that, we want to help and lend and provide leadership if needed or follow if needed, but just be involved and help. I think we can help in a big way.
While we were off mic, you mentioned that you might run for office sometime. So what were you thinking along those lines?
I was actually going to run this race as a Democrat in the congressional race, Congressional 19. And a couple people reached out to me and said, this is a crazy idea, but would you consider this, considering what's happening in Iran and how much we're against what's happening? Jimmy Panetta, he says that he wants to get the War Powers Act signed and get Congress to approve it. And I actually believe if it came down to it and he was asked to, he would approve a war with Iran. And I think he would. And I wouldn't. And I think that's what's driving me the most motivation at the moment, to get involved. I ended up not doing it because I literally had my petition. I paid the filing fee, $1,700, and I was just about to do it. But I learned that Sean Doherty, who is in the Green Party, he decided to switch to the Democratic Party. I didn't want, and he's very prepared, and he's been trying to run, and I think he has a great chance this time. So I decided not to do it, and I want to support him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But sometime in the future, you might run for something.
Absolutely. And maybe council member. Gino Garcia is my current council member. He's great, and he's doing a great job. Maybe I can do that one day. I would love that. Or maybe a commission, but I just want to continue my public service. I think I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm good at it, and I like listening to people and bringing people together and solving problems.
Thanks very much for doing this.
Thank you very much, sir, for bringing me on. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
We're happy to do it.
All right.
You've been listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale, K-Squid, community radio for all of the Monterey Bay. I'm Andrew Schoenberg. Thanks for listening.